Oh yeah! What's up, motherfuckers and scumbags? It is I, your travel god of extreme, Peter Joseph here, for a Tuesday evening video. And it's Tuesday night. You know what that means. We got NXT coming your way at the top of the hour with another epic episode. We'll see what happens tonight. But before we get to that, make sure you like the video, hit that subscribe button down below in my pants. So do that. So like the video, subscribe to my channels, all down below in the gobbledygook. You know where it is. It's in my pants. So smash that like button to death. Leave a comment on the video if you like, but if you leave stupid comments, bye-bye, you're out of here. Go fuck yourself. With that. And, that's it. You can't follow the rules, then you're out of here. If you don't like it, go cry. Bitch. And that's that. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Share the video all over the internet. Don't forget to tap and slap that bell. Turn on all notifications. You don't miss the next one. If you miss anything, you need to get violently slapped in the face because you're SOL. And you know what that means? Mm-hmm. If you don't know what it means, look it up, asshole. And that's that. And if you're brand new here for the very first time and you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button, smash that like button to death, and don't forget to hit that bell and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any more of my videos on my respective channels. And tell your friends and all your other good people. And that's that. And as we say in the business, when you do subscribe, thank you for watching. Welcome to the party, pal. We hope you enjoy the ride. Sit back, relax, you grab yourself a cold one. I don't have one at the moment because I finished it. But I will have one later when we talk about tonight's episode of NXT. But we'll get to that later. But sit back, relax, you grab yourself your own cold one. Put your feet up and enjoy the show. If you like it, great. You know, fuck you, man. And that's pretty much it. Alright, it is the first day of April, that horrible day that it is. We all know what it is. Where we act like fools and think we're great with stupid garbage, with jokes and acting a fool because it's the nation's, it's a national holiday. Not really a holiday, but it's a stupid fucking day that should be abolished. But I call it Tuesday, April the 1st, 2025. We have finally got to April. And gonna be raining here. Rest of this, coming this weekend. So the April showers are coming. And hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have May flowers and all that other good shit. But we'll see what happens in about 29 days from now as we round out this month and go into the beautiful month of May. We got Easter coming up in 2 weeks. We got Mother's Day coming up in about a month. Memorial Day, the unofficial start of summer, right around the corner. So, summer is unofficially going to be here in about 6 to 8 weeks. So, can't wait for that. Going to be hopefully a hot summer. But we'll see what happens with that when we get there. And that's that. Alright, we're on this channel we're getting near the nitty-gritty to get to 800 subscribers. We're about 30 or so away. So I don't think we're gonna get there by Easter, so hopefully by Memorial Day or maybe a little bit after. By the time the summer comes, I hope we get to at least 800 on this channel and then see what happens on the other channels. But it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, so we'll get there eventually on my respective channels. We'll get to some milestones, hopefully by the end of the year. But we shall see what happens with all that. Alright, Mets baseball on tonight. Like, actually see if there's well, Brandon Nimmo just hit a home run for the Mets. That's always fun. Finding Nemo! After the Mets walloped the Marlins in Miami last night, 10-4. Well, that's not what I want. Let's see, well, actually, it's 2-2, top of the third in Miami. Sorry about that. Alright, so Senga gives up 2 runs in the first inning. What else is new? Yep. gives up a 2-run homer to in the first. So Senga gives up 2 runs already in the first inning. But the Mets came right back. Brandon Nimmo with a home run. And then Frankie Lindor with a single to score Luis Angel Acuna, who's playing second base, and kind of platooning him and Beatty. So right now it's 2-2 in the top of the third inning with 2 outs, man on second base. Who's on second? I don't know who's on second. Let me see here. Alright, okay, Acuna got a double. Siri grounded out to keep him at second, and then Frankie Lindor got him in. And then Soto lined out deep to Daniel Myers, and then that's it. So it's first, guy on first. Lindor is still second. That's why he's on second base. Alright, so we'll see what Big Pete Alonso does. And that's that. But it's early, 2-2, top of the third. Senga didn't have a great first inning, but got out of the second inning, and see what happens in his 2025 debut, coming off a horrible injury-filled year, and didn't do so good in the playoffs, and kind of reverting back to that garbage that he did in the National League Championship Series. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, we'll get back to the Los Mets de Nueva York a little bit later tonight, if I can. Hit the wrong buttons on my phone, but it's alright. Alright, so, all you skanky fans out there with your torpedo bats, bottom of the first, no score as of right now. So the game just started in that dump in the Bronx. And, well, the Mets game, Alonso probably struck out or something. Yeah, he grounded out the third. So, alright, so the Mets tied the game up at 2, and we'll see if Senga can keep the Marlins off the board and all that good stuff as we go into game number 5 of the baseball season. Mets are 2-2, chasing the Marlins for first place right now. They're a half game back. I know it's early, but it's nice to get the division games out of the way, so if it comes to a tie near the end of the season, you look back at the beginning of the season when they had all those division games, you're like, you hold a tiebreaker, and shit like that. So, but we'll see what happens with that. And Yankees start I believe a 2 or 3 game series, and then they'll be on the road. Mets come back. After tomorrow, they'll be back in New York for the home opener on Friday afternoon against the Blue Jays. I mean, there's going to be some rain this weekend, so I don't know if they're going to get 1 or 2 of those 3 games coming up. And then they got the Marlins after. I think the Marlins after that at home. So, and I think Monday is going to be maybe a little bit of a washout, but should be clearing up by the beginning of next week. And should be some good stuff. So the Mets might have a little bit of a couple games that are going to be delayed because of rain, or they're going to be rained out, and then they have to play it later in the year if they can. It sucks. That's why April is a crappy month to play baseball. But it is what it is. All right, enough about baseball. Let's go Mets, and let's see what happens later tonight. And we got NXT coming your way at the top of the hour. But I want to give my thoughts about last week's episode. So this is my really late and out of date NXT thoughts. You understand? Thoughts from last week's show, March the 25th. Actually, last week's show, March the 25th, 2025. So 32525. 32525. Sounds like a combination for a safe, but we get that. Alright, so Vic Joseph, Booker T, and Corey Graves at ringside from the Capitol Wrestling Center in Orlando, Florida. We're getting closer and closer to Stunned and Deliver. And Stephanie Vergara, the double champion. How great is she? She defended both belts on the program. She started off with taking on Jada Parker for the NXT Women's Championship. And, you know, Jada gave it all, kind of banged up Stephanie's ribcage with that sexy hip attack in the corner. But then Jordynne Grace, who was watching from backstage, she pretty much got pissed off. She went right to the ring and caused a distraction near the end of the match as, I think, Jada was going for another hypnotique attack. And Jordan got on the apron, caused a distraction, and then Stephanie, with a weird as fuck roll-up, looked like a pretzel roll-up. 1, 2, 3, she retains the NXT Women's Championship in a pretty good match. So she retains the NXT Women's title, but then after the match, Jada and Jordan have to be separated. And that distraction led to Fatal Influence, JC Jane, my girl Jasmine Nix, and Fallon, don't call her, the Dawn Henley. They come out, and they beat the fuck out of Stephanie. JC with not 1, not 2, but 3 senton splashes on those injured ribs. Trying to either put Stephanie at less than 100%, and I think they did their job, but even though later in the night, Ava Raine was in the trainer's office with Stephanie and the trainer, and she's asking Stephanie if she can defend her women's North American title, and Stephanie's like, I'm gonna fuck that bitch up, and then Ava's like, she cleared? I was like, I guess. He lets her go, and we get to that match a little bit later. But before we get to, you know, her second title defense, we got Trick Willie Shamone. Still doesn't want to hear from Javon Evans, bouncy boy, saying there's a difference between you having potential and me having a title, and you don't have a title, but you have potential. So anyway, and we move on with that. Here goes Mr. Softy. It's that time. As soon as the spring comes, Mr. Softy comes out for the ice cream. Mr. Diner Dan ice cream. I'd love to have some ice cream right now. I think I have a little bit of pistachio ice cream left in the fridge that me and the missus had the other night. She tried to make a shamrock shake like at McDonald's and pretty much failed. I just had some pistachio ice cream. It wasn't bad, but you know. I like Carvel ice cream. That's just my favorite pistachio ice cream. But we get all that. And we move on. So, that's that. Alright, so, we get that. So, what was I talking about? I got distracted by the freaking ice cream truck. Anyway. So, Trick Willie and Javon Evans are kind of at odds. It's like, oh, I'm better than you, you know, and I'm better than you. So, we'll see what happens with that later in the night. And we get that. Alright, then we get the Girls of Metaphor. Oh, yeah, man, Booker T. Lash Legend, Kick Gun, and the beautiful Miss Jakara, Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. They want to know why they're not getting a TNA Knockouts title shot, which Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan got and lost. And, you know, they get into an argument with them. Then they get into an argument with Sol Ruka and Delta. So, who knows who gets a shot? So, it's like the men's tag team division's all messed up. Everyone wants a shot. And now the women's division of NXT is going after the TNA Knockouts tag team division. And they're like, hey, we want shots here. So, I don't know what's going on. but it is what it is. You hear some, like, brrr outside. It's I think somebody went to got some ice cream outside, so. It's a good day to get ice cream. It wasn't that cold, but tomorrow's going to be cold, but then warm up to, like, 75 on Thursday, and then rain pretty much Friday through the week. Not so much Friday. Saturday and Sunday's going to be a washout and into early Monday. So Friday will be okay, but, just got to dodge the rain a little bit on Friday. So if you have any weekend plans, bring it inside. If you're in the Northeast. That's that. Alright, so we got that. Alright, then Vic Joseph had a sit-down interview with Absolute Ricky Starks. Or Ricky Saints. Basically talking about, people still think he doesn't belong here, and he's having trouble with his self-confidence. He had to live in his car for a little while. And the only thing he had was self-confidence, which helped him get into the wrestling business, get into the indies, get up to AEW, where pretty much he got tortured by Tony Khan and then finally released. And then another guy that Tony Khan fucked up, that's Shawn Spears. He comes in, the North American champion, says that, Ricky, your confidence is driving people crazy. And he's like, well, you might not, you don't have any friends. I got some friends, so Nico and Brooks Jensen and Izzy Dame, they come in. The culling. But Ricky says, that's how you won the title because of them. And then Shawn Spears suggests that Ricky can always go back to AEW. Oh, he didn't say. He said, well, you could go back to where you never mind. If it doesn't work out, then he says, oh, but you already burned your bridges over there. And then he leaves with the rest of the culling, and then Ricky Starks says, well, I guess I better win then. Well, we got that title match tonight on NXT. I hope we get a title change. I don't think we may or may not get it tonight. I think we're going to get it at Stunned and Deliver. So Ricky Starks will get his first WWE/NXT title, hopefully at Stand and Deliver, coming up in 2 weeks. And we get that. Alright, then we see Ethan Page running his mouth, like he always does, to Cale Dixon and what's his name? Osiris, whatever his name is, the other guy. Andre Chase is there too, Mr. Chase. And, Ethan's opening his mouth, and Cale Dixon's like, hey, you wanna fight, motherfucker? And then Ethan Page's like, hold on a minute. Not Ethan, I'm sorry. Andre Chase has to say, oh, hold on there. This is a teachable moment. I'm going to talk about teaching the younger people how to deal with people like you. And then more insults happen, and then we get a match later on with Mr. Chase and Ethan Page, and, well, doesn't end well for Mr. Chase and company, so we get that. Alright, then we see Hank and Spank, those two idiots in the back. They run into the Motor City Machine Guns, surprisingly making their NXT, I think they made their NXT debut, but they're there, hey, great to see you. So Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, they're there to give Hank and Spank a quick pep talk. Why? I don't know. But anyway, so Hank and Spank take on the big boys, Tariq Igve and Tyson DuPont with Wesley at ringside. 6.5 minute match, didn't really matter, it was boring. Tank comes in to clean house after Hank was getting beat up most of the match. He plants Tariq Igve for a near fall, and then Wesley offers a distraction, and then Tariq and Tyson hit the Heart Stopper. No, nothing Heart Foundation like or anything, just called the Heart Stopper on Hank. 1, 2, 3 to get the win. Pretty big win. They're chugging along on the NXT tag team roster, and they still in TNA here and there, but, they're just chugging along right now, the rookies. They have Wesley behind them. So, maybe a title shot down the line, but I don't see them getting anywhere, like they're actually going to win titles or anything, but, you know. Obviously, they're rookies, so you got to give them some time. And, that's that. Alright, then we have Fraxium, still the NXT Tag Team Champions. That's Ben Frazier and A-Kid. They have another one of those mini arguments. It's just weird that how this team somehow coexists. That they've held the belts not once but twice already. Almost like a 200-day combined reign. Who knew? And this argument is about A-Kid not inviting Ben Frazier to Spain during the European tour, which finally ended last night, thank the Lord. So we get that. And then we see on the little TV that the Huda Oba Hu Femi has come in, and he is pissed. That guy is never happy. So like, Oba's coming in, we gotta go! So he leaves. And that's pretty much it. Alright, then we had Lexis King taking on Bouncy Boy Javon Evans for the Heritage Cup. One fall to a finish. Not those 6-round, 3-minute rounds anymore. No 2 out of 3 falls match. One fall to a finish. And it was a pretty decent match for what it was. Javon hit one hell of an Eddie. Got hit off Frog Splash. Big time height. It was crazy. Is that Eddie? Oh, that guy has bounce. He's bouncy. What, he's using a trampoline essay? I don't know. I couldn't even get higher than that. Anyway, he's on a steroids essay. No, he's not on those steroids. I think he's legit bouncy. Maybe he is a trampoline. I don't know. But he did a pretty good, not as great as you, Eddie, but, But it was good. Not like Rob Van Dam either. Rob Van Dam! You suck. That's pretty much it. So anyway, he hits that for a near fall. Lexus goes after that still injured jaw. And then a running shot sends Lexus outside the ring. Evans nails one hell of a dive. I think he landed right on the announce table, and it was like, what the fuck? And then, the Ruda. He comes out, takes down, gets to the ring, takes down Javon Evans behind the referee's back, and then Lexis King retains the cup via countout. Oh, he was outside the ring. He didn't go inside the ring. He was like beat his ass. I think he hit that apron powerbomb circa Kevin Steen, and Lexus wins via countout to retain the Heritage Cup. We get that. Then after the match, the lights go down. Sabu doesn't come out. Dark State comes out. They're in the crowd. They're teasing like they're gonna do something to maybe Oba or Javon. And then we see like Lucky Ali in the crowd, like, come on, do it! Come on! And then Oba goes after Javon again, but then Trick Winnie comes in for the save, and he has to basically be held back from Oba. So everybody's saying, oh, Trick Willie is working with Dark State. I doubt that. I mean, we'll see tonight, but... So, Oba, I think we're going to get Oba and Trick legit rematch for the NXT World title. I mean, we'll see what happens with that. And we move on. Alright, then we got Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley taking on Metaphor. Match wasn't great. 4-minute match. Once again, Metaphor loses again! As all 4 women in a ring, and then Jakara Jackson gets hit with a cemetery drive. They're some new finisher that Tatum and Gigi made up. And they get the win, and another loss for the Metaphor girls, which pisses me off. I don't know, so that's that. Alright. Then we go to the restaurant. It's time to eat with my cousin. Hey, my cuz. Get in here, cuz. Come here. Alright, that's my cuz. My legit cousin, Tony D'Angelo, who gets me a chicken bonito for $2. You, yes you, fat boy, you get it for $10.50. So anyway, he's in the restaurant, and two of his goons are in the background, and he wants information on Darkstate, and then the rest of the family come in. Stacks! He comes in, the suspect, though he's very, very, very suspicious lately. The beautiful Adriana Rizzo, and the man who lives downstairs from you, that's Luca Crucifino, they all come in, and they basically tell Tony that we're going to find out who Darkstate is, what they're all about, who the leader is. And so they go to leave, and then Tony's like, Stacks, sit down! I'm like, uh-oh. So Tony brings up a story of saving Stacks when he was a little bitty kid. And Stacks like, I'll never forget you saving my life from some big mafia dude or whatever it was when they were kids. And Tony's like, I can trust you, right, Stacks? And then Stacks like, he gets up for a second, and he's like, you can always trust me, T. Always. And I'm like, bullshit! He's gonna turn on Tony. He's gonna try to become the Don, and Tony D's gonna fuck him up. Or the family turns on Tony D. That'll suck. So we'll see what happens with all that next week on the program. Moving on. Alright, then we see Hank and Spank in the back once again with the Motor City Machine Guns, who kind of, basically, they console them about their, on their loss. They say, stay with it, you'll get there, trust your partners, don't compare yourselves to us, because we've been tag team for a very, very long time. At least they win, and Hank and Spank don't, so maybe it wasn't a good idea to give them a pep talk. Where we get that? Alright, so we got that. Ethan Page and Andre Chase have a match. Ricky Saints on commentary did pretty good. Uriah Connors and Cale Dixon at ringside. Nothing much to talk about. Tornado DDT gives Mr. Chase a near fall. And then he gets crotched on the top, and a super power slam gives Ethan a near fall. Then he hits the twisted grin. Like the twist of fate. 1, 2, 3. He gets the win over Mr. Chase in about 10 minutes. Ever since Chase U pretty much disbanded and pretty much became nothing, I mean, why keep Andre Chase on the roster? Makes no freaking sense to me. And then after the match, Ricky Starks looks up at Ethan Page, and then Sean Spears and the Culling come out and beat his ass. And leave him laying. And that's pretty much it. So we'll see what happens tonight. Maybe Ricky gets revenge. He gets the North American title. But I see some chicanery. And I think we're going to get a second match at Stand and Deliver. And we get that. Alright, then we hear from Darkstate saying when they strike, nobody is safe. Nobody. And we get that. Alright, then we get a clip of the debut of Stephanie's Places. Stephanie should be Stephanie's Place, but it is what it is. It's that show on ESPN where Stephanie hangs out with like people like CM Punk, Cody, the Bloodline, which I'm surprised they actually, they're on Roman's yacht or something like that, and they're all hanging out like, Zillow, we see like Solo and Roman like just hanging out like normal people. I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? Can't do that. But Stephanie acknowledged our tribal chief. Not like that, but, Hi, Steph. We move on with that. Alright, got that. Alright, then we go outside. Trick Witty cuts a mean promo on Javon Evans, calling him a distraction, just like Eddie Thorpe was. Basically, he wants Oba Femi next week for the belt, and calls Darkstate none of his business. He's not involved. Like, they don't mean shit to me. So, don't even ask that question. So, we'll see what happens with all that when we move on. Alright, then we go to your main event of the evening for the Women's North American title. Stephanie Ricoeur, not at 100%, takes on Fallon, don't call her Dawn Henley, with Casey Jane and my girl Jasmine Nix at ringside. Eventually, they do get involved with get a cheap shot from Jasmine, and Casey, just being Casey, just shaking her hips and looking great. So get a cheap shot from Jasmine, but Stephanie Figueroa sends Fallon Henley into Jasmine Nix for a big old knockdown, and well, that was it for Fallon Henley as Stephanie hits the SVB, and she hits the 1, 2, 3 in just about 10 minutes, so she retains both belts, first NXT Women Double Champion to do that. I'm so mad that NXT did not even acknowledge Mandy Rose becoming a double champion when she won the NXT UK title, even though it was a unification match. Still, double champion, even though, like I said, the NXT UK title was just merged with the NXT Women's Championship, because NXT UK gone in pretty much history. Don't know what's happening with NXT Europe at this point, if it even starts or not. So we get that. So Stephanie defends both belts, but she's still banged up. And then after the match, the rest of Fatal Influence come in, beat her down again. Jordynne Grace comes back out for the save, and then they lock eyes, and Jordynne teases challenging Stephanie Figueroa, I think, for the women's title, or at least one of the titles. But then Jada Parker comes from behind, jumps Jordynne Grace, but Jordynne takes her out again. And that's pretty much it. Then we go back to a stare down with Stephanie and Jordynne. That could happen at Stand and Deliver. I'm all for that. We'll see what happens with that. Then to end the show, we get a bunch of all the women in the women's locker room pleading their case for a future title shot at Stephanie's belts. And then he was like, I don't know what to do, but we're going to make an announcement this week. So Ava's going to make a big, huge announcement regarding title shots and who's the next contenders for Stephanie's belts. Well, we do know Jordynne Grace is one contender. For what belt, we don't know. And then for the other belt, we don't know. So I would think they're probably going to do some type of battle royal, some bleh shit tournament, maybe. I doubt they do a tournament because I can't do it in 2 weeks. So we'll see what happens with that tonight. And that's it. And then they go back to the ring, Stephanie and Jordynne, with one more stare down to end the show. Alright, so that ends pretty much NXT from last week. So we'll see what happens in about 15 minutes from now with tonight's episode of NXT. And hopefully it's going to be a good one. We're a couple weeks away from Stand and Deliver with that really crazy start time of 11:30 in the morning, 9:30 in Vegas. And NXT talent, the talent of NXT is pissed about that, because we know they gotta get up at like 7 o'clock in the morning just to get to the arena by like 8:30 to get ready by 9:30 for showtime. Not even 7. They probably have to get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, because you gotta get to the arena, you gotta go over your match with your opponent and your and whoever's producing the fucking match and shit. Figure out what moves they're gonna do, what the finish is, and shit like that. And then, after that, the show's gonna be over by 12:30, 1 o'clock Pacific time, and then everybody's gonna go to WrestleMania, which starts, I believe, at 4 p.m. So everybody's gonna go from wherever we're gonna be doing NXT, the pay-per-view at. And then they're going to go right over to Allegiant Stadium and watch WrestleMania Night 1 and stay for Night 2. And I think NXT on the 22nd is from Vegas. So we got a long as fuck week. So after in 2 weeks is the final show at the Performance Center, and then flying right to Vegas for Mania week. And then by Saturday, we're talking about Stand and Deliver, and then after that, the Aftermath, which will lead us into into May, and on the road to NXT Battleground the same fucking night. That's in Tampa. September? No, Tampa. That's the same day as Double or Nothing, which is Memorial Day weekend. So lots of shit for Memorial Day weekend. We got Saturday Night's Main Event coming up that weekend. That Saturday before, we got 2 pay-per-views the same night. Then we got Raw, the Memorial Day edition of Raw in Tampa, and then NXT in Tampa. The aftermath of Battleground. And then we'll be on the road to the summer. And then we got that. And then earlier in the month, we got Backlash for the main roster. That's going to be, I don't even know what that is. But, I think it's in Toronto, or whatever it is. But, yeah. So, May's going to be a little bit of a, big month for WWE and AEW. TNA Rebellion should be around that time as well. So, getting, WrestleMania season, and then after WrestleMania season, gets a little bit, it cools down a little bit after WrestleMania season, and then back up when SummerSlam season hits, because we got a lot of shit. Forbidden Door, we got All In July. We might have Evolution for the women, July 5th. Slammiversary in July. And in August, we got Clash in Paris. We got SummerSlam, 1 and 2 in Jersey. And then as we get to September, we got All Out. And a whole lot more. In between, we got Money in the Bank. We got King and Queen of the Ring. Lots of shit. It's insane. I got the G1 coming up too, so. Woo boy, we got a lot to talk about for the summer. It's a great time to be alive if you're a wrestling fan. And especially a content creator talk about wrestling. Lots of stuff, lots of news coming in and out of the pay-per-views and backstage and shit like that. So, I'm hoping to be here through at least July. But we'll see what happens with all that. But that's that. Alright. That is it for now. I'm going to get ready for NXT coming up in about 10 minutes from now on the CW11. Should be a great show. And I'll be back later, right here, once again, on the Peter Joseph channel with your official NXT review for this week. So we'll get 2 for the price of 1 on your NXT reviews from last week and this week. So now we're pretty much back on a normal schedule. We'll talk about AEW tomorrow night as we're getting closer, as this is the go-home show before Dynasty or Dynasty. TNA Ring of Honor will be back on Thursday night. And then we got SmackDown on Friday. We do have Collision on Saturday. I believe we do. I gotta check my DVR if we think there's a Collision on Saturday. And then we got Dynasty on Sunday. So lots of wrestling this week. Going into the first official week of April, as we're going into the 3rd week of spring, and 2 weeks from Sunday is Easter. So that should be fun. So I know a lot of people are going to be traveling in the next week or two to get home to their loved ones for Easter. School's going to be ending for everybody. Coming up in about, depending where you live, it's going to be ending next month or at the end of June. So, spring break is going to, some people have had spring break. Some people are going to have Easter break in a couple weeks. So, you get that little off week. So, it's nice for all the people that go to school and all that shit. And, even you college kids will be home for pretty soon. Because, after you do your finals, probably much in May and maybe early June, depending on what college you go to. You have all the summer off, unless you take summer classes. Which, I've only done that a couple times in my college career. I did it just to get it over with. I really wanted to stay home. And, or go on vacation. But, most of the time I stayed home and did my radio show. So, it is what it is. But yeah. So, we got a lot of things going on as we go into Easter, coming out of Easter, going into the unofficial start of summer on Memorial Day weekend, and then by right near the end of June, the summer will be here, and that's pretty much it. And we'll see if it's a hot one or it's not going to be a hot one, and hopefully no hurricanes and all of that shit. So we get that. All right, everybody, thanks for watching, and until next time, my rating for last week's NXT, 7 out of 10 stars. Let me know what you guys thought of the show down below in the comments section, and we'll talk about it like Trick Willie would say. And that's that. Alright, guys, I'm out of here. Don't be a fool. Stay in school. Go watch NXT and don't be a schmuck. Do that on you know, do that some other time. Don't do it, you know. Don't bother people when they're watching NXT, you know, that shit. You know, just stop being a dumbass, because, you know, don't be a fool. That's it, because April Fools are for dumb fucks and criminals. It's a joke. It's stupid. It's the most stupidest holiday ever. It should be abolished from the calendar. Maybe we can get Donald Trump to abolish it. He could do anything. It's gonna be huge. I don't like April Fools. We're gonna make an executive order to dismantle it. Because I'm the president. It's gonna be huge. He could do it if he wanted to, but we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, enjoy your day of fools, ladies and gentlemen. But you know, for all of us who don't give a fuck, we're gonna enjoy the rest of our Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, or Tuesday afternoon in the West Coast. Just gonna have an amazing Tuesday and not give a fuck. And that's that. So, like I said, I'll be back later with my official NXT review for this week. And if anything else happens, we'll talk about that later. But for now, I'm Peter Joseph signing off. Peace out, rock on, and rock hard with your cuckoo. And if you're not down with that, I got 3 words for you. Fuck you, man. And that's it. I'm out. Peace.